to win $1,000. Comment how many stories in this video.
Daddy, where are my eyes?
My young son came to help me paint the house. Suddenly, I dropped my glasses and couldn't see at all. I was trying to find them, and then my son yelled, "Daddy, look, I painted one of the places you missed painting." I got scared and angry, shouting, "What did you do? You will ruin everything." Still unable to see, I threw my paintbrush, and it hit him in the eye. "Dad, I can't see!" he cried. I finally found my glasses and saw that paint had gotten into his eyes. He was in pain, and I rushed him to the hospital. The doctor said the paint had harmed his eyes permanently, and he would be blind. When we got back home, I looked at the wall we painted. I realized I had missed many spots. He hadn't ruined anything. He was trying to help. I held my blind son tightly and said, "Please forgive me. If you think I am guilty, subscribe." Daddy, my hand hurts. I was outside washing my new car when my daughter came out wanting to help, but suddenly I heard a scratching noise. I saw that she had scratched my car. I ran over, shut the door hard, and shouted, "What are you doing?" But by doing that, I accidentally slammed the door on her little fingers and cut them off. Later at the hospital, my little girl had her hand wrapped in bandages. She looked at me and asked, "Daddy, when will my fingers grow back?" I felt so bad and cried. When we got home, I started kicking my car again and again. Then I walked to the side where she had scratched it and I saw the words, "I love you, Daddy. If you think I am guilty, subscribe."
I did something so stupid. I was getting ready to enjoy my birthday, and my little son was making something using paper. When I saw that he had used it all, I shouted at him because we didn't have much money. The next morning, he gave me a small box with a big smile and said, "Daddy, happy birthday. I love you." I opened it, and inside was just a blank sheet. I got angry and said, "You're the worst son. Why would you give me a piece of paper?" His eyes filled with tears, and he ran outside. Then I turned the paper over. There was a drawing of me and him together, and it said, "Happy birthday, Daddy. I love you." My heart broke. I ran to him, hugged him tight, and said, "I'm sorry for everything. I love you too. And if you love your family, subscribe."
Why are you late? One student was always late to my class. I got angry with him and often hit his hand with a ruler as punishment. One day, I told him to bring his parents to talk to me, but they never came. The next morning, while I was riding my bike to school, I saw two boys in a small street behind the school. I thought they were skipping class, so I stopped. "What are you two doing?" I yelled. Then I noticed it was the same boy who was always late. "Oh, it's you! That's it! You are done!" He quickly said sorry and begged, "No, please! This is my brother! He is blind and I have to take him to another school. That's why I am always late." I was shocked. "Where is your mother?" I asked. "We don't have a mother. We live alone and our neighbor takes care of us." My heart sank and I felt so bad for what I had done. I gave him a hug and said, "Sorry. No one should judge others without knowing their full story. And if you agree, subscribe for good luck." I was drunk in my car. I was sitting in my car in a parking lot when I saw a lot of empty cans and trash inside. I was a little drunk, so I rolled down the window and threw it all out. A small homeless girl who was cleaning the sidewalk saw me. She walked up and said, "That's not nice. Please, clean it up." I just laughed and yelled, "Go clean it yourself." The girl kept sweeping while crying. Then I suddenly heard motorcycles around me. A big biker knocked on my window with others behind him. I got nervous and rolled it down. The biker threw a bag full of trash right at my face. "That hurts," I shouted, but they only laughed and yelled, "You get what you give. Act like trash and life's going to treat you like trash. And if you agree, share this with a friend." I did something terrible. I was sharpening blades for my work when my small puppy walked into the room, happy to be close to me. I didn't think much about it and kept working, but then I heard a loud noise. Oh no, my tools broke. I got mad and kicked the table, and the sharp blade rolled on the ground toward my puppy and hurt his paw. I was shocked and quickly took him to the vet. As the doctor helped him, my puppy looked at me with sad eyes. I cried, hugging my little buddy who lost his paw because of what I did. When we came home, I put him down, but I could see he had changed. Hours passed, and he stayed in the same place. I felt so sad and tried everything to cheer him up. I gave him food, but he didn't eat at all. After a few days, my puppy passed away from being too sad. If you think I'm guilty, subscribe. My son is a piece of shit! He gave his son 1 gold coin every day. His dad told him, "Here, son, try to collect and keep many coins." But the boy didn't care. He threw the coins into the river. His father saw it, but said nothing. The boy didn't work and stayed in his father's house. One day, the father told the neighbors, If my son comes asking for money, don't give him anything. Later that day, he called his son and said, "Go and earn money on your own." The boy went to ask the neighbors for money, but they gave him nothing. So he finally decided to work. He found a job on a farm and worked hard all day under the hot sun, lifting heavy boxes. At the end of the day, he earned 1 coin and went back home. His father said, "Well done. Now go throw the coin into the river." The son replied, "No, father. I worked so hard to get this coin. I can't throw it away." His father looked at him and said, "How many times did I give you the same coin and you just threw it in the river? Do you think it was easy to make that money? My son is being mean to a sick girl." I got a call from his teacher saying he was picking on a girl who had cancer. He laughed at her because she lost her hair. When he came home, I was very mad. "So you were making fun of that girl? Get in the car now." As we drove, he asked, "Dad, where are we going?" I yelled, "You'll find out." When we stopped, my son looked confused. "Dad, why are we at a barber shop?" But I was still mad. "Sit in the chair." He sat down, and I told the barber, "Shave off all his hair." My son looked shocked. "No, Dad, please. What are you doing?" he cried as the barber finished cutting his hair. Then I shouted, "Now you know how that girl feels. The only difference is your hair will grow back, but she is dying. Never be mean to others. My mom made a terrible mistake."
My mom worked really hard for 30 years to take care of us. She went through a lot of hard times and saved up $50,000 to stop working and rest. But one day, my aunt called and said she needed $50,000 to keep her house. We were very close and spent a lot of time with her. So my mom said yes, but only if my aunt promised to give the money back in 1 year so my mom could retire. A year later, my aunt didn't even call to see how we were. My mom got worried and called her, but she didn't answer. When my mom went to her house to ask for the money, my aunt slapped her in the face. She started yelling and acting wild, saying she never took any money. I couldn't believe it. When I got home and saw my mom crying on the floor with a red mark on her face, I was so angry.
This old man wanted to hit me. My little girl and I went to watch a boxing fight together. She held my hand tight as we found our seats. "You're the best dad," she said with a big smile. We sat down, and I began telling her what was happening in the fight. When one boxer gave a hard punch, I shouted, "He hit him!" My little girl got excited. The old man sitting next to us didn't look pleased. He said, "Just stop talking already." I acted like I didn't hear and kept telling my daughter everything about the fight. After some time, the old man got more upset. He turned to me and yelled, "Just shut up!" I still didn't stop. My daughter should enjoy this special time, and I wasn't going to let anyone ruin it. The old man couldn't hold it in anymore and shouted, "You don't need to explain anything to her. She can see it herself." I looked at him and said quietly, "Yes, I do. My daughter is blind." Never judge people until you know their full story. I'm so jealous of my brother. My brother chose a bad way. He was a lawbreaker and went to jail many times. But when he got out, he managed to steal a lot of money and didn't get caught. He became very rich. I lived a different life, helping people every day. Even though I did good things, I stayed poor and had a hard life. One morning, while walking my dog, I saw a well-known criminal in a fancy car. I got angry and thought, why do bad people get so much money from God? I couldn't take it anymore and yelled, "I don't want to be a good person anymore. I've done so much good, but my life stayed hard." In a weak moment, I went into a gas station with a gun and stole money. After I left, I got scared and started shaking. I called my brother to help me. He picked me up in his car, but then a big bus crashed into us and we both died. We woke up in heaven and stood in front of God. He shouted, "Your brother and dog may enter, but you cannot." I was shocked. He said, "Your dog was loyal all his life. Your brother, even though he did bad things, asked me for forgiveness and prayed every day. But when I tested you, you turned away from me. Only those who have true faith can enter heaven. And if you love God, subscribe." "Why are you crying, Mom?" A young boy lived with his mom. They were poor and had very little food. One night, the boy was hungry and went to bed. He began dreaming that he was walking on clouds. Suddenly, he saw a strange man standing in front of him. "I miss you," the man said. "Who are you?" the boy asked. The strange man didn't answer. He gave the boy some bread, hugged him, and then the boy woke up. In the morning, the boy told his mom, "I saw a strange man in my dream, and he was really kind to me." His mom smiled and asked, "What did he look like?" The boy answered, "He is strong and has a good heart." Later that evening, the boy drew the man from his dream and showed it to his mom. "Look, this is the man I saw in my dream. He is so nice." The mom was surprised and shouted, "Where did you get this picture?" The boy said, "I drew it by myself." With tears in her eyes, the mom said, "This is your father. He went to fight in a war because we were poor and he died. Your father is your angel who will always watch over you. You are not my brother anymore. I hate you." I lived with my mom and dad in a big house. I was really happy because they gave me all the love. When I wanted something, them, they always gave it to me. Then one day, my baby brother was born. He cried all the time, day and night. He got all the attention. I felt like no one saw me anymore, and I started to hate him a lot. As time passed, things got worse. He took my toys, ate my food, and even wore my clothes. One day, I got really angry and yelled, "I hate you! I wish you would die!" I cried hard, full of anger, while my baby brother just looked at me. Then my dad came and sat beside me. He held my hand softly and said, "I used to be like you. When I was a kid, I hated my little brother too. I thought he took mom and dad's love. I didn't want to share anything. I was mad all the time." I looked at my dad and saw tears in his eyes. I asked, "Dad, why are you crying?" He said, "My brother got sick with cancer. I never got to say sorry. You and your brother must love each other. These children are so dirty." My son was lucky to be born in a rich home, but he soon started whining. "I hate you, Dad. My life is terrible." He always asked for more things and was never thankful. One morning, I told him we were going on a trip. We went to the airport and flew to another land. Before we landed, he asked, "Why does this city look so strange? Why is everything broken and ruined?" When we got off the plane, he asked, "Why do people look so scared? Why are so many people hurt?" I didn't reply. I just walked with him through the streets. He saw people resting in tents. He saw boys and girls his age with no shoes, wearing ripped, dirty clothes, asking strangers for food. He looked very puzzled. Some people came near us asking for food and water. Then we heard a loud boom far away. Everyone started running and hiding. My son shouted, "Dad, what's happening?" I pointed at the people and said, "They used to live a normal life like you. When the war began, they lost their houses, their families, and everything they owned. Be thankful every—"
Brother, please don't die. Me and my older brother were hiding inside our home during the war when a loud blast shook everything. I opened my eyes and saw my big brother next to me, not moving. "Brother, wake up!" I cried, but he didn't answer. He was hurt. I picked him up and carried him on my back. "I'll find help," I told him. I walked for hours begging people to help us, but they all said the same thing, that he was gone and I should leave him, but I didn't stop. Later, a soldier came to me and said, "Put him down. He's dead and too heavy for you." I got upset and kept going. That night, I finally reached a doctor's tent. The doctor took my brother in, and he lived. The doctor asked, "How did you carry him for so long, little guy?" I said, "The pain didn't matter. He's my brother, and I'd carry him forever if I had to. And if you love your siblings, subscribe."
My dad likes his phone more than me. I asked my dad if we could go to the park, but he looked at his phone again and said, "Not today. I'm busy. We'll go tomorrow. I promise." I felt a little sad, but said okay. That night, I went to sleep happy, thinking about going to the park. But in the middle of the night, I heard Mommy crying and shouting. I ran to their room. She was shaking Dad, saying his name, but he didn't move. He didn't wake up. The next morning, I put on my shoes and held my doll. I waited at the door and asked, "Is Daddy ready to go to the park?" Mommy looked at me and started crying again. I didn't understand then, but he had died at his desk. We found a note that said, "Tomorrow, remember to take her to the park." But it never happened. "Love your family. Tomorrow is not promised." "Daddy, you are going crazy." My dad took me to lots of places for some reason. First the zoo, then the park. He spent the whole day with me, and I noticed he kept coughing, but I didn't think it was serious. At the end of the day, we sat on the beach and watched the sunset. I looked at him and said, "You're the best dad ever." He smiled and said, "And you're the best daughter." Later, we got ice cream and looked at the stars at night. I told him again, "I love you." The next morning, I woke up early and wanted to surprise him with breakfast. When I opened his door, he was lying still in bed. His eyes were shut. "Daddy?" I whispered, but he didn't reply. I walked closer. His hands felt cold. My heart sank. Then I saw a letter on the table with my name. It said, "I was hiding my illness. I didn't want you to worry. I just wanted to make you smile while I still could. I love you more than anything, my daughter." Now, every time I go to the beach, I think of him. This guy is so dumb! It was summer, and I was at the hospital when I saw a man dressed like Santa walking to another area. Is he crazy? It's not even winter, I thought, watching him carry some gifts in the hallway. I told him, "Santa comes at Christmas, not in summer," but he didn't say anything. That evening, I went to check out that part of the hospital to see what he was doing. When I walked in, I saw a bunch of bald kids smiling, opening gifts near a Christmas tree. Santa was talking to them, listening to what they wanted to be when they grew up. His eyes were full of tears. I didn't get why he was crying. Then he came out. I asked him, "What are you doing here?" With tears in his eyes, he said, "These kids have cancer. They will leave this world in a few days. Their biggest wish was to meet Santa for Christmas, but they won't live that long. So I gave them Christmas in the middle of summer. They're not dead. They're drunk." After my mom and dad had passed away, I started drinking heavily. Over time, my life became a total disaster. My wife left me, I lost my job, and I wasted all my money on booze. I gave up on living because I missed them so much. One night, while drunk and watching TV, my phone rang. I was confused since the phone hadn't worked for months because it was broken. I stood up and picked it up.
You can do better than that.
A familiar voice said. I froze in shock.
Don't give up.
I couldn't speak. Who is that? I asked.
Son, it's us, your parents.
Right then, the phone stopped working again. Tears filled my eyes. I gathered all the alcohol bottles and tossed them in the garbage. I looked in the mirror and screamed. Maybe they are gone, but they'll always be watching over me. I will make my parents proud. My friend is a selfish jerk! We were walking outside. I had some candy in my pocket and said, let's share this. I gave him half. He smiled, took it, then suddenly said, wait here, I'll be right back. Before I could say anything, he walked away. I sat on a bench and waited. After a while, my stomach started to hurt. I tried calling him, but he didn't pick up. Eventually, I got up and started heading home. As I passed a restaurant, I stopped in shock. Through the window, I saw him sitting down, eating a huge meal. I was stunned. I walked in, stood next to him, and asked, why didn't you invite me? He looked annoyed and replied, because I don't have enough money for both of us. I looked at him with tears in my eyes and said, you're a fake friend. A real friend shares what he has. To be the second $1,000 winner, tap the red circle. She want to kill me. A man and woman got married. After the wedding, the woman moved in to live with her husband's mother. After 1 year, she couldn't take it anymore and wanted to get rid of her. She went to a shop and asked to buy poison. The shopkeeper asked, why do you need poison? The woman said, I can't stay with my husband's mother anymore. She dislikes me. The shopkeeper replied, all right, I will help you. I'll give you something that works slowly so no one will think it was poison. But to avoid doubt, you must stop being angry, be calm, and treat her with respect. She agreed, bought the poison, and started putting it in her mother-in-law's food. At the same time, she learned to stay calm and be kind to her. Her mother-in-law noticed the change and started to care about her too. After some time, the woman came back to the shop and said, please help me save her from the poison I gave her. The shopkeeper smiled and said, don't worry, I didn't give you poison. It was just orange juice. The real poison was in your mind. Mommy, where are you? There was a boy who was always mad at everyone. Each day, he came out of his room yelling and shouting all around the house. One day, his mom tried to hug him, but he pushed her away. Later, she cooked food for him, but he threw the plate on the floor and it broke. He grabbed the food and tossed it all over the house. Then he went outside for a walk and yelled at an old woman and her dog. The next morning, he woke up and looked for food, but there was none. He searched for his mom, but she was gone. He went outside and looked for the old woman and her dog, but the street was empty. The boy felt afraid and started calling out for help, but no one replied. He went back inside, sat down, and began crying. Suddenly, his mother showed up and shouted, anger doesn't fix anything, but it can ruin everything around you. My dad is a big liar. One day, a dad gave his boy a challenge to spend 1 day without using any tech and just enjoy the simple things. If he did it, the dad would give him his special watch that had been in the family for many years. The boy said yes with excitement and turned off all his devices. He spent the day walking, playing with friends, and swimming in the river. After that day, he felt really happy and saw how fun life could be without screens. But he didn't know his dad was very sick and there was no cure. When the day ended, the boy came back feeling proud, but his joy turned into sadness. His dad had died. A note next to him said, enjoy every moment, my son. Live each day like it's your last, so you don't have regrets like I did. The boy felt sad, but understood the deep meaning. Time moves fast, and the small moments are the most special. Don't waste your life. Cherish every moment. No homeless dogs allowed. I worked at a store during the day. It was always full of customers. Suddenly, a homeless man walked in. He looked very hungry. Can I have 1 piece of bread, please? He asked. I packed one for him and added a little more. He pulled out $10 dirty to pay, but I said, no need to pay. Then my boss came over. What are you doing? He shouted with anger. How dare you come here, you dirty animal? My boss was furious. He snatched the food from the man's hands and threw it into the trash. I was shocked. The people eating in the shop stood up. If the homeless man can't eat here, we can't either, they said. Soon, everyone left. Then I told my boss, I am quitting my job. 1 month later, the shop shut down. Not because of no money, but because there was no kindness left. I made a terrible terrible mistake! I went on a trip with my little boy and our dog. We climbed up a mountain, and once we got to the top, we sat near a small fire while the sun started to go down. Everything was peaceful until my dog suddenly stood up and began barking at me. "Be quiet!" I yelled, upset, and hit him lightly to stop the noise. But then I noticed my son. He was running straight toward the edge of the cliff. "No! Come back!" I shouted, chasing after him in panic. Before I could catch up, my dog raced past me. Just as my boy reached the drop, the dog jumped and stopped him from falling. I grabbed my son and held him tight, my hands shaking. "My friend, you're a hero. You saved my boy. I'll give you a treat." But when I looked back, my dog was gone. He had fallen over the edge. I dropped to the ground, crying and calling his name, but I never saw him again. "My little sister is a big liar!" A little girl was very sick and stayed in the hospital. Her big brother came to see her every day. One day, he gave her a teddy bear. She asked, "Will the teddy bear watch over me when you leave?" He said with a smile, "Yes, he will, and he will always be with you." The next day, her brother visited again and brought some sweets. The little girl asked, "I love sweets. Are there any in heaven?" With tears in his eyes, her brother said, "Yes, there are a lot, but you will eat them here with me." She said, "Thank you for coming every day. I love you, big brother." The next morning, her brother came again, but her bed was empty. The doctor told him, "Your sister passed away last night. She wanted me to give you this." The brother cried as he read the note. It said, "I knew I was going to heaven, but I stayed strong and brave because of you. Thank you for everything. The teddy bear and I will take care of you." A man built a car by himself. He showed the car to his wife, but she said, "This car is ugly." The man worked hard to make a new one, but again his wife said, "This car is ugly." He tried one more time and used the best and most expensive materials to build a new car. Still, his wife said, "This car is ugly." The man got upset. He took all his cars to a parking lot, left the keys inside, and walked away. The next morning, he went back to the lot and saw that all the cars were gone. He didn't care and just kept walking. Later that day, he walked past a car shop. In front of the shop, people were staring at his cars. One man shouted, "I want to buy this car for $1 million. The man said, "I left these cars in a parking lot last night because my wife said they are ugly." The shop owner said, "I saw you leaving them, so I took them. These cars are amazing. We want you to work for us and build more cars like these." They were just in the wrong place and needed the right eyes to see their worth. "Daddy, where are my eyes?" My daughter and I went fishing at the lake. She was very happy, but she had a hard time using the fishing pole. After a while, I got mad. "You're not doing it right. Watch how it's done," I yelled, grabbing the fishing pole from her. I pulled it back roughly to show her the right way, but I wasn't careful. The hook hit her right in the eye. She screamed, "Daddy, it hurts!" I stood still as blood started running down her face. I dropped the pole and ran to her, scared. "I'm so sorry, what have I done?" I cried. She just cried harder. I rushed her to the hospital, and the doctor's words crushed me. "The damage is permanent, she'll never see again." When we got back home, I couldn't stop crying. She only wanted to make me proud, but because I got angry, "She is blind now! If you think I'm guilty, subscribe! My wife did something terrible!" I had a dog I really loved. He was my closest buddy. One day, my wife called me and said, "Our dog tried to drown the baby in the pool." I rushed home fast. When I got there, I saw my dog near the pool and my wife holding the baby. The baby was crying and coughing water. I was shocked. I went inside, thinking hard about what to do. Then my dog started barking loudly at my wife, like he was angry. Suddenly, my wife kicked the dog into the pool and ran inside the house. She took the baby to the hospital to make sure he was okay. I sat down, still confused, and then I remembered, we have security cameras. I quickly went to my computer to check the video. What I saw shocked me. The video showed my baby playing near the pool, then falling into it. Right away, my dog jumped in to save him. He helped the baby get out of the pool. He saved him. I was right. My best friend is a hero. I loved him more than anything. Then I noticed in the video, my dog was still in the pool, not moving. I ran outside to help him, but it was too late. My best friend had died. With tears running down my face, I called my wife and shouted, "You didn't wait to see the truth. Our dog saved the baby. You killed my best friend. This man is taking babies!"
I was riding the bus with my 2 children, talking on the phone, when I suddenly noticed I had left my baby in the stroller at the bus stop. Fear hit me. "Stop the bus," I shouted, but it was too late. I hurried to get off at the next stop. Through the window, I saw a man lift my baby. He looked like someone who lives on the street. I was shocked. Why was he holding my baby? As soon as I came back, I yelled, "Help! He's taking my baby." People came around him shouting, "You're a bad guy. Why are you taking babies?" The police came and asked him, "Is this your baby?" He answered, "No, but I didn't steal her." The stroller was rolling into the street and a car was coming. I had to run and save her. I felt ashamed.
Don't think bad of others too fast. I made a big mistake. After my parents passed away, My grandpa looked after me. He had to work every day until late at night to make sure I stayed alive. After many years, I got married. My grandpa got old and sick, and he didn't have enough money to pay for his home, so I let him stay with us. He was very old, so his hands shook when he ate, and he would drop food on the ground. My wife started to not like him. One day, we had people visit us, and my grandpa dropped his plate on the floor. My wife got very upset and told me to take Grandpa outside. As we walked in the snow, I told him to wait and said I would come back soon. I went back home, leaving him alone in the cold. I ate dinner with our visitors. After they left, I went to bed. Suddenly, I remembered Grandpa was still outside. I ran out, but I couldn't see because the storm was strong. I searched everywhere. Then lightning hit a tree. I got scared. I saw Grandpa lying in the snow near the tree, crying. I ran to him, carried him home, gave him warm blankets, and hugged him. I said, "I'm really sorry, Grandpa. You never left me, so I won't leave you. Stop, you are going to hit me!" One night, I saw a car driving really fast past me. I got in my car and started following it. The car finally stopped, and when I walked up to the driver's window, I was surprised to see a very old man inside. "You were speeding. What were you thinking?" I asked. He said, "It's an emergency." I asked if he had been drinking, but he said, "I'm not drunk." The next day at the police station, I sat across from the old man and asked him some questions. He looked tired and weak. "Sir, you know you could go to jail for driving at that speed. Why would you do that?" The old man began to cry and said, "I was taking my boy to the doctor. He has cancer. He wasn't feeling well." I was shocked. "How old are you, sir?" "I'm 100 years old," with tears in his eyes. "My son has no one else. I've been taking care of him until now. He's 70. I take him to the hospital every day. Please, if I go to jail, could you take care of him for me?" My heart felt heavy. "I'm sorry, sir. You will not go to jail. You are proof that no matter what, family always comes first."
My school was on fire. Smoke was all around. Kids cried and ran. I was too afraid to move. I was stuck. I called my dad. "Daddy, help. The school is burning. I'm scared." He said,
"I'm coming. Be brave."
I cried as the smoke got worse. I couldn't breathe. Then I heard him. "Stop. It's dangerous," a man said. But my dad shouted, "My daughter needs me." He broke the door. His arms were burning. He carried me to the window, smashed it, and pushed me out. A firefighter caught me. I looked back. Dad was crying. Then the roof fell. At his grave, I whispered, "I miss you, Dad. I love you forever. If you think my dad is in heaven..."
"This man wants to lick our ice cream." My girlfriend and I were sitting on the beach watching the sunset when I noticed a man standing close by eating ice cream. At first, I didn't care much, but then I saw he was staring right at us. I leaned toward my girlfriend and said, "He keeps watching us." She looked and replied, "Yeah, tell him to stop." I was already irritated, so I stood up and walked over to him. "Hey, stop looking at us," I said, but he didn't answer or turn away. Now I was angry. "Are you not listening? Quit staring!" I yelled, and without thinking, I hit him in the face. He fell down and his ice cream dropped in the sand. Then he shouted, "What's your problem? I'm blind!" He reached for something and pulled out a cane. I froze, feeling like the worst person alive. I quickly lifted him up and said, "I'm really sorry. I didn't know!" He shouted angrily, "Think before you act. I did something insane!" A man passed away and found himself in heaven. He looked around and saw that everyone there was full of joy, kindness, and peace. Everything looked normal, like life on earth. After walking and enjoying what he saw, he asked an angel, "Can I see what hell looks like even for a little while?" The angel said, "Sure, let's go." They went to hell. The man noticed that it looked almost the same as heaven, but the people there seemed angry, sad, and not happy at all. It looked like things were not good for them. The man asked, "Hell looks like heaven, so why is everyone unhappy?" The angel replied, "Because they think life is better in heaven." A man died and his dog died loyally by his side. The man's soul stood in front of a gold gate, and next to him was the soul of his dog. A mysterious man stood by the gate. The man who died asked, "What is this place?" The mysterious man said, "You died. This is heaven. Now you can enter and rest in peace." The man asked, "Is there water in heaven?" The mysterious man replied, "Of course there is plenty of water. And is there food in heaven? You will get everything you want, but I have a dog with me." "I'm sorry, sir, the dog can't enter," said the mysterious man. "The dog will have to stay here." The man refused to enter the gold gate. Together with his dog, he kept walking. Then they saw another gate with a man sitting nearby. The man asked, "Sorry, what is behind this gate?" The second man replied, "Heaven. Can I bring the dog with me?" "Of course," said the man. Then the man asked, "What was the other gate then?" "Hell. Only people who don't leave their friends behind reach heaven." "You wants to eat everything. I was working in my restaurant, taking care of orders, when a man came in and shouted, "I need 500 meals." I looked at him, surprised. "Why do you need that many?" I asked. He pulled all the money from his wallet and placed it on the table. "It will take about 1 hour," I said. He nodded and went outside to sit on a bench. While I was cooking, I kept watching him through the window. He just sat there looking at the street. 1 hour later, the food was ready. I brought him the big boxes of meals. Before he paid, I asked, "Wait, why do you need so many meals?" He pointed to a group of homeless people nearby. "They are hungry. They eat from the garbage. I can't watch anymore. I need to help them." I was shocked and replied, "Then the meals are free." We went together and gave the meals to the homeless people.
I hated my little brother when we were young. He always got all the care and attention. Every day he made a picture for me saying, "Sister, look, this is for you." But I always yelled at him, "That picture is ugly." I did that because I was jealous. Everyone cared about him, and my parents always blamed me, not him. Still, he kept drawing for me every day. He would draw us hugging, laughing, being happy, but I still didn't like him. One day, he didn't come to give me his drawing. There were no smiles, no hugs. My little brother passed away from cancer. Now I was sitting alone in his room and found all the drawings he tried to give me. On each one, he had written, "I love you, sister." My heart broke. From that day, I would give anything just to hug him again and tell him how much he meant to me. But it was too late. Holding his pictures, I saw how much he truly loved me.
I had to run! I was getting ready for a big marathon where the reward was a large sum of money. On race day, I was quicker than everyone. I was in the lead and almost at the finish line. But then I noticed an older man behind me who started looking very weak and sick. At one moment, he collapsed. I stopped and stared at him, then I looked at the finish line. Should I help him? I thought, stuck between choosing to win the reward or help the man. I chose to help. Other runners just passed me. After 10 minutes, carrying the old man, I crossed the finish line. He thanked me. I was then packing my bag to leave the marathon because I knew I was the last and didn't get the reward. But then everyone stared at me. I was puzzled. Then the judge said over the speakers,
Runner number 7, who came back to help the old man, is the winner.
I was shocked. Always help those in need. Why is she standing in the rain? I was enjoying my day, but then I noticed a wealthy girl in fancy clothes standing alone and searching for something. Many people came to her asking, "Are you lost? Do you need help?" Soon a woman arrived, thanked the people, and left with the girl. 20 minutes later, another little girl showed up. She wore torn, dirty clothes, but people ignored her. Even when she started crying, asking for help, they yelled at her to leave. I was stunned. I stood up and went to her. I asked where her parents were, and she only cried, saying, "I am hungry." I held her hand and took her to a restaurant for food. Suddenly, the same woman who had taken the rich girl appeared. I was puzzled. The woman asked, "Why did you help her?" I answered, "We are all humans. We need to help each other." Her eyes filled with tears, and she gave me $1,000. She said, "This was a social experiment, and you are proof that humanity still exists. This man is stealing people!" There was a farmer who often sold butter to a baker. One day, the baker wanted to check the weight of the butter to make sure it was the right amount. He found out it wasn't, so he took the farmer to court. The judge asked the farmer, "Do you use any tool to measure the butter?" The farmer said, "Your Honor, I'm old-fashioned and I don't have a real measuring tool, but I do have a scale." The judge asked, "Then how do you weigh the butter?" The farmer answered, "Your Honor, before the baker started buying butter from me, I used to buy a 1-pound bread from him every day. When he gives me the bread, I put it on the scale and give him the same weight in butter. If anyone is wrong, it's the baker." He wanted a mouse for his birthday. A little boy wanted a mouse for his birthday. "Mom, Dad, buy me a mouse. I will take care of him, I promise," the boy said. On his birthday, his parents said, "We have a present for you." Out of the box came a cute little mouse. The boy was very happy, but in the corner of the room, he saw their pet cat staring at the mouse. He knew that if the cat got the chance, it would try to catch the mouse. The boy was careful and kept the mouse in a cage. "Please watch the cat so he doesn't catch my mouse," the boy told his parents. "Don't worry," they said. One day, the cat and the mouse were in the same room, but the mouse was locked safely in his cage. The next morning, the boy overslept and was late for school. While sitting at his school desk, he suddenly shouted, "Oh no! I forgot to lock the cage." He ran home in a panic. When he got there, the house was a mess. The boy thought, "The cat must have eaten the mouse." Then he heard the cat meowing from another room. He ran inside and saw the cat and mouse cuddled up together. They were friends the whole time. "This boy is eating garbage." I spent the whole day making food for my son, but my son pushed his plate away. "I'm not eating this," he yelled. "But you didn't even taste it," I said. Then he stood up and threw it in the trash. I was trying hard not to get mad. That night, very late, I took him to the city. "Dad, why are we here so early?" early?" he asked. I brought him to the poor side of the city. "Look around." The houses were falling apart. The roads were full of kids with no families. Homeless people sleeping on the street. Some kids had no shoes. Moms and babies were sleeping on the cold ground. Then we saw a small boy go to a trash can. He searched slowly and found a small piece of bread. He ran to his little sister. She took a bite and gave the rest back to him. My son looked at them with tears in his eyes. "Why is he eating from the trash?" he asked. "Because he has no food like us. Be thankful and never throw food away. If you agree, drop a heart and subscribe." A man was talking to God. "God, I want to be rich. I want a pretty wife. I want everyone to like me." The next day, he walked to the park. On the way, a man who baked bread stopped him and asked, "Do you want to work with me?" The man laughed and said, "No way! I won't make any money with you." He kept walking and sat on a bench in the park. A woman came and sat beside him. She asked, "How are you?" He said, "That's not your problem." Then he stood up and walked home. That night, before going to bed, he thought, "Why is God not helping me?" He went to sleep and started dreaming. He saw God standing in front of him. He asked, "Why are you not helping me?" God said, "Look up!" A bright light showed, and in the sky he saw a video of his life. God said, "When you asked for money, I sent you a baker, who later made a bakery worth $1 billion. The woman on the bench was the pretty wife you wanted. I don't make magic, I give chances. You didn't take yours." He is searching in trash! A little boy and his mom went to buy shoes. They picked out shoes and paid for them. But once they left the store, the boy shouted in anger, "I don't want these shoes!" His mom said, "But you picked them." The boy got upset, threw the shoes into a trash can and yelled, "This is where they should be!" His mom became emotional because she spent all her money on them. The boy then shouted, "I wish I had a different mom," and walked away alone. Soon he saw a small girl crying without shoes in front of a shoe store. He asked her, "Why are you looking at the shoes?" She answered, "I'm asking God to give me these shoes." He felt bad and asked, "Where are your parents?" She replied, "They left me when I was a baby." The boy began to cry, ran back to his mother and said, "I'm sorry." He picked the shoes from the trash and gave them to the little girl, saying, "You need them more than me. Be kind and grateful. I did something terrible." One day, while I was sitting on my bed, my phone rang. It was my young son's teacher calling to say he had failed his test. I got really mad and rushed into his room shouting, "You failed your test?" He stood still, holding his notebook. "I tried, Daddy," he whispered. "Tried!" I shouted and kicked a ball across the floor. It bounced and hit him in the face. He started crying. I snatched the notebook from his hands. "This is worthless. Do you know how hard I worked to give you a good life? And this is what you give back. You're lazy and don't appreciate anything." My son looked hurt and ran away. Breathing heavily, I opened the notebook and stopped cold. Inside was a drawing of me yelling, while he held a heart that was broken. Underneath, he had written, "Daddy, even when you're mad, I still love you. I wish you saw my heart and not my mistakes." I ran to him, hugged him tightly, and cried, "I'm so sorry for everything. No, Dad, he will bite me." One day, a farmer saw a snake stuck in a fire. He quickly tried to help and pull the snake out, but the snake bit him, causing a lot of pain. The farmer dropped it, and it fell back into the fire. Then he took a metal stick and used it to save the snake again. His son, who was watching, asked, "Why did you help it again after it bit you?" The farmer said, "It's in the snake's nature to bite, but my nature is to help. Don't let others' bad actions change your good heart." This cat saved my baby! After my wife passed away, it was just me and my little girl. Because my job kept me away so often, she felt lonely, so I brought home a cat for her. One night, I left for work while they slept side by side. But the next morning, when I came back, I was horrified. My daughter was lying unconscious, her hand covered in bites and scratches. I rushed her to the hospital. The doctors said she'd be fine in a couple of days, but I was furious, believing the cat had hurt her. I threw the cat out. Days later, when my daughter came home, she asked, "Daddy, where is my cat?" I told her what I had done, and she burst into tears. Then she told me the truth. I had left the window open, and a snake had slithered inside. While they were sleeping, the snake bit her, and the cat fought it off, killing it, but scratched her hand in the process. I was stunned. I ran to find the cat. She was lying still on the ground, gone. Why did she do this to me? I used to have a girlfriend I loved deeply. We had big dreams together. We were together for years, and I gave her all my trust. I also had a best friend I'd known since I was a kid. I thought I could trust him with anything too. One day he said, "Let's go on a trip together. It'll be so much fun." I said yes and started making plans with him. They both told me, "We'll have an amazing spending time together. I was so happy, ready to travel with the two people I loved most. The day we were supposed to leave, I decided to do a little work before we headed out. But when I got home, the house was empty. My girlfriend and best friend were gone, and so were our bags. I didn't understand, so I tried calling them, but they didn't pick up. A few hours later, my best friend finally called me. I answered and said, "Hey, where are you? We're going to be late for the trip." But what he said next broke me. "We're already here, buddy. Thanks for introducing me to the love of my life. My girlfriend cheated on me with my best friend. I was heartbroken in tears. Mom, I don't want to die!" Every day, a woman baked 2 loaves of bread, one for her family and one for any stranger passing by. She saw that the same man came daily to take the extra bread. He would always say, "Bad things you do stay with you, but good things will come back to you." He came every day, and the woman started to feel upset because only he ever took the bread. One day, she got so angry she decided to kill the man. She put poison in the loaf, but just before giving it to him, she stopped and thought, "What am I doing?" She threw the poisoned bread in the fire. Instead, she gave him the bread that was meant for her family. As always, he said, "Bad things you do stay with you, but good things will come back to you." A few minutes later, someone knocked on the door. She opened it and was shocked. It was her son. He looked weak, dirty, and very tired. He said, "I got lost in the woods and fell in a deep hole. I was there for 3 days with no food. I was about to die, but a stranger helped me. He gave me a ladder, took care of me, and fed me a big warm loaf of bread." What the heck did my dad do? I was riding the bus while my dad was the driver. Everything seemed fine until he lost control of the wheel. The tires slipped and the bus crashed into a river. Everyone began shouting, "We are going to die!" Before the bus sank fully, I saw my dad leap into the water. He swam back to the bus and started dragging people out one at a time. Soon, we were all on the riverbank, alive and safe. Then a woman shouted, "My husband is still in there. Please save him!" My dad dove back into the water. He swam to the rear of the bus, found the man, and pulled him out. The man reached safety, but my dad didn't come up right away. Fear filled me as we all waited. At last, he reached the shore, gasping for breath, and lay on the ground. "Is everyone safe now?" he asked weakly. We all nodded with tears. "Yes, we're safe," he smiled, then shut his eyes and collapsed. I ran to him screaming, "Dad, wake up!" But he gave no reply. We tried to help him, but by the time we reached the hospital, he had passed away. I knelt beside him, tears streaming, shouting, "Dad, you saved us all! Fathers are heroes! My dad really hates me!" I remember running up to him, holding my small toy car, shouting, "Look, Dad, I made a car!" I was so happy. He took it, barely glanced at it, and threw it out the window, breaking it into pieces. "You're so weak," he said harshly. "What's the use of that car? Go do your schoolwork." "But Dad, I already did my homework," I said, trying not to cry. "You'll never do well because you don't listen to me." One day while I was playing, my toy car hit his coffee mug and spilled it. He got mad and yelled, "I don't want you anymore. You're worthless. You'll stay with your dumb mom." My mom took me in. She said she believed in me. She made me feel like I could be anything. Years passed, and I became a car designer. One day, I showed off my top-selling car that had made millions. My dad was sitting with his friends when one of them pointed to the TV. "Isn't that your kid?" He looked shocked. The reporter asked if I had anything to say. I smiled and said, "This is for my mom who always had faith in me. I love you, Mom, and to my dad who left me. Screw you. They are about to kill us!" Our home was gone. Mom and Dad had died somehow. It was just me and my little brother. We were hungry, lying on the cold ground. Then an old woman came. She had white hair and tired eyes. She spoke a language we didn't understand, the same language as the people who hurt us. I was afraid, but she knelt down and gave us a piece of bread. She brought us to her home. She gave us warm food, dry clothes, and soft blankets. She smiled and sang songs while cooking soup. We didn't speak the same words, but she was gentle. She felt like a grandma. Sometimes I heard her crying alone, looking at a photo of a man in a soldier's outfit. I felt sad for her. One night we heard boots outside. It was soldiers. She ran to us, her eyes full of fear. She grabbed our hands, opened a hidden door in the floor, and helped us hide. She shut it quietly. We heard yelling, angry voices, and then gunshots. After silence, we came out. She was on the ground, not moving. She had saved us. I hugged her and cried, shouting, "Thank you for saving us. My twinnie left me alone." There were 2 brothers who cared for each other a lot. One day, one of them got very sick. The older brother quickly called for help and took him to the hospital. Soon, the doctor came in and said, "To stay alive, you need a heart from someone else." The brother asked, "Is that the only way?" The doctor answered, "Yes, that's the only choice." The older brother searched everywhere to find someone who could give his brother a heart, but he couldn't find anyone. He came back to the hospital and spent the night laughing and talking with his sick brother. Before leaving, the brother smiled and said, "I love you, brother," and gave him a big hug. The next morning, the sick brother had surgery. He got a new heart and started to feel better. The doctor came in and said, "The operation went well, and you'll get better soon." The man asked, "Where is my brother? Why didn't he come?" The doctor looked at him and replied, "Your brother is in heaven now. He gave you his heart to save your life." "I hate my little brother." Two brothers were walking in a park. The younger one was happy and had a small chocolate in his pocket. "Let's share this chocolate," he said to his older brother and gave him half. Suddenly, the older brother said, "Wait for me here. I'll be back soon," and walked away. The younger brother sat on a bench, waiting. Time went by and he started to feel hungry. He called his brother, but there was no answer. So he got up and began walking home. On the way, he passed a restaurant and saw his older brother inside eating. He went up to him and asked, "Why didn't you invite me to eat with you?" The older brother replied angrily, "Because I don't have enough money for both of us." The younger brother was surprised. With tears in his eyes, he said, "You are a fake brother. A real brother shares everything he has. I made a terrible mistake." When I was a kid, my grandpa told me that my parents died after some bad guys took them away. Everything felt sad and empty. My grandpa was a police officer, and after some days, he caught those bad guys and put them in jail. Since then, my grandpa raised me. Years went by. I got older, and so did he. I took care of him until I got married, but my wife didn't want him to live with us. I didn't know what to do, so I remembered my grandpa always wanted to live in Europe. I got him a ticket so he could move there. A few days later, I got a phone call. "We have your grandpa." It was one of the bad guys my grandpa had put in jail. "Give us $1 million or he dies," they shouted. I was shocked. I packed a suitcase with money and flew to find my grandpa. When I got there, I yelled, "I have your money!" But one of the bad guys pointed a gun at me. Just then, my grandpa jumped in front of me and saved my life. The bad guy ran away. I fell to the ground crying and hugged my grandpa. Before he closed his eyes forever, he said, "I never thought you would kick me out after all I did for you, but I still love you. Get in the fucking car!" I was caught and taken to court. People shouted, "He is a criminal." The judge showed a traffic camera video where I ran through red lights. "This is what you did. 4 months in jail by the law. Do you want to say anything?" My eyes filled with tears. "I am guilty, Your Honor, but I was hurrying to see my daughter." The courtroom shouted again, "He is lying." The judge asked, "Can your daughter prove what you said?" Tears rolled down my face. "No, Your Honor." "So you are lying," he said while writing prison papers. At that moment, I took out my phone and played a doctor's call recording. "Your daughter is very ill. She will die today. Her last wish is to see you." The judge's eyes filled with tears. Then he hit the hammer. "You are free to go. Never judge people too fast." "She thinks I'm lying!" A woman got married to a man, but she was always very unsure and thought he was not loyal. "Do you love me?" she asked. "Of course," he answered. "You are not telling the truth," she yelled and walked away. The man tried to prove that he cared about her, but she never trusted him. Many years went by, and they had their first child, but the woman still thought he was seeing another woman. One day, they were walking in a park with their baby when the woman suddenly slipped and hit her head. She woke up in a hospital room. "Why am I here?" she screamed. A nurse came in and said, "You have a bad head injury, but you will be fine." The woman asked, "Where is my baby?" The nurse replied, "He is in another room waiting for you." She went to see her baby and found him alone. "I knew it," she said. The nurse looked confused and asked, "What?" The woman said, "My husband left the baby alone because he is cheating on me." The nurse said, "Are you okay?" Then she added, "When you fell and hit your head, the stroller with your baby was about to be hit by a car. But at the last moment, your husband pushed the stroller to save your baby and was hit by the car himself and died. This man tried to kill me!" I was riding my old bike, feeling tired after work. I closed my eyes for just a moment. Suddenly, I heard a loud noise. I opened my eyes and saw a shiny, fancy car in front of me. A man got out, looking mad. "You just hit my car!" he shouted. I got off my bike, my hands shaking, and tried to fix the scratch with my fingers. "I'm sorry," I said quietly. "I can't fix it, but I'll pay you." I opened my wallet and froze. I had no money. Tears came to my eyes. "I'll earn the money and pay you, I promise." His face stayed angry. He walked to his car, opened the trunk, and pulled out a gun. I dropped to my knees, scared. "Please don't hurt me." I dropped my wallet, closed my eyes, and waited. Then I heard gunshots. I opened my eyes and saw him shooting his own car. "Don't be scared," he said with a smile. "It's just a car, I don't care." He picked up my wallet, then suddenly stopped. Tears came to his eyes as he looked inside. "Father," he said. I stared at him, shocked. "Is that you, son?" My voice shook. "They took you from me when you were a boy. Finally, I found you." I I made a big mistake. I loved my dog more than anything. We did everything together. After I got married and had a baby, my dog still stayed close, always loyal and full of love. One night, my wife and I went out to eat and left the baby at home with the dog. While we were gone, something bad happened. The baby rolled off the bed and started crying. A poisonous snake came into the room trying to bite the baby. My dog saw the snake and attacked it, killing it to keep the baby safe. When we got back, the room was a mess. The baby was crying on the floor and the dog stood near him. How could my best friend hurt my baby like that? I shouted, full of anger. I grabbed my gun and shot the dog. Right after, my wife screamed, "The baby isn't hurt!" Then I saw it, the dead snake near the bed. My heart stopped for a moment. My dog had saved my baby. I ran to him, but it was too late. He was already gone. I held him close, crying, and said, "I'm so sorry I did this to you," but I couldn't change anything. I had killed my best friend, the one who protected all of us. My dog surprised me! When I was a young boy, my dog was my closest friend, and we grew up together each day. We loved playing with a ball in front of my home. My dog had a special trick I taught him. I would throw the ball, and he would leap, catch it, and roll on the ground. One morning, my parents took us on a trip. My dog and I were playing in the woods when a massive fire broke out, burning trees and everything around us. My dad carried me, and with my mom, we ran to safety. When I looked for my dog, he wasn't following us. He was trapped by the fire and passed away. I was crushed, and for years, I didn't want to have another dog. I always kept my dog's photo in my pocket. Many years later, I still felt pain remembering that day. But one night, while sitting in front of my house, I heard barking from a stray dog that ran toward me. I picked up a stick to scare it away, but when I threw it, the stray dog jumped, caught it, and rolled. I was shocked. "My friend, is this you?" He barked, and I finally knew his voice. I hugged him and I hate this janitor! I used to be the boss. I had a janitor that I always laughed at and treated badly, but some of my workers liked him. They stood up for him and thanked him for his work. He stayed because he needed the job, even though I was mean to him. One evening, before I left, the building caught on fire. I ran out of my office, but the smoke was everywhere. I got stuck and couldn't find a way out. Then I saw through a window. The janitor was running back and forth, helping people who were always kind to him. I yelled, but he didn't listen. He kept helping the workers who respected him. I cried and begged for help, but he didn't come. I looked around and finally found an open window. I looked out and saw the janitor with all my workers. I shouted, "Help me! I'm still here!" He looked at me and yelled, "Forget who! This is what happens when you don't treat people right! People are spitting on me!" I had no home and was searching the streets for food and shelter. Strangers spat at me and yelled insults when I begged for a little money or even just bread. My stomach ached from hunger. "God, please help me!" I cried as I prayed. Later, I found a bag on the ground. It was stuffed with cash and a man's ID. This money could fix all my problems, but I knew stealing was wrong, so I turned it in to the police. That night, as I slept on the sidewalk, a rich man in a black suit pulled up in a fancy car. "Did you return my bag?" he asked. I said yes. Then he handed me 3 bags of money. God watches us and tests us before answering prayers. If you trust in God, say amen and subscribe. I did something terrible! When I was a little boy, every day I bullied one of my classmates, a boy in a wheelchair. I mocked him, shoved him, even pushed him out of his chair, leaving him to struggle on the ground. "Come on, get up! Oh wait, you can't!" I'd sneer, while my friends and I laughed before running away. This went on day after day, and none of the teachers ever stopped it. Then one day, he didn't come to school. At first, I didn't think much of it, but then days passed, then weeks, then months. Finally, I asked my teacher, "Where is he?" She looked at me sadly and said, "He passed away yesterday. He had been fighting a terrible illness all along." In that moment, I was crushed. I cried, realizing the pain I had caused him while he had been silently suffering. "Why is my dog barking?" I was walking home with my dog when he suddenly started barking. I was puzzled, then he ran off. I chased him until we reached home. It was on fire. My heart pounded as I heard my wife screaming for help. She and my daughter were stuck inside. Without thinking, we rushed in. I was hurting but didn't stop. I found my wife holding our daughter, both coughing but alive. I got them out safely. Then I heard my dog crying. He was still inside. A policeman grabbed me, yelling, "It is too dangerous!" I broke free. I couldn't leave my best friend. I searched until I heard him barking under the bed. I grabbed him, unconscious, and ran out. out. At the hospital, the doctor said he would live. I hugged him tight. Friends never leave each other. His snake planned to eat him. A man walked into a pet shop and saw a python snake. The snake looked very pretty, so the man bought it. After a while, they became close friends. They ate together, spent time together, and even slept next to each other. One day, the man saw that his snake wasn't eating and was looking thinner. He got worried and took it to the vet. The vet asked what was wrong, and the man said, "My pet snake looks thinner than normal, and I'm worried about him." The vet checked the snake and did some tests, but everything looked fine. Then another vet came in and heard the story. He looked at the snake and suddenly shouted, "You need to get rid of him." The man asked, "Why?" The vet answered, "This snake is getting ready to eat you. My son is an unthankful kid." He got everything he wanted, but he was never happy. One day I wanted to teach him something. I took him to my poor brother's house. I wanted him to see how people live with less. He stayed there for a while, seeing how my brother lives with very little. When we came back, I asked him, "So what did you think?" He smiled and said, "It was great, Dad." I was surprised. "Didn't you notice how my brother lives?" I asked. He said, "Yes, I saw it. We have one dog, but he has lots of animals. We have a small pool, but he has the whole sea. We have lights, but he has the stars. We buy our meals, but he grows his own food. We are closed in by walls, but he has people around him. We work alone, but he is with family and friends." I didn't know what to say. Then my son said, "Thanks, Dad, for showing me how poor we are. Those prisoners are pieces of shit." I was in jail, and the other prisoners didn't like me because I believed in God. Every day they laughed at me and said things like, "Why don't you ask your God to get you out?" One day, a guard came to my cell and shouted, "You think your God is strong? Let's see if he can save you now." He dragged me out, tied my hands and feet with chains, and threw me into a dark room full of poisonous snakes and rats. Nobody ever came out of that room alive. When the door shut behind me, the prisoners laughed and yelled, "Your God can help you now." I was really scared and felt like I couldn't even breathe. I started praying, "God, please help me. I believe in you." Suddenly, the room became silent. An angel appeared in front of me, clapped his hands, and all the snakes and rats stopped moving. I prayed all night, thanking God. In the morning, the guard opened the door, crying. He dropped to his knees and asked me to forgive him. I was shocked. Then he screamed, "All the prisoners who laughed at you were found dead this morning. This is why you should never make fun of God. I wanted to be this bear's friend." One day, I found a baby bear all alone in the forest. He looked small and weak, so I chose to take him home and look after him. As time passed, the baby bear grew larger. We ate together, played together, and even slept close to each other. We were best friends. One day, I noticed something odd. He began acting strange. He stared at me strangely. Worried, I took him to the doctor. The doctor checked him and said, "Everything seems fine." Just then, another doctor came in, looked at him once, and suddenly shouted, "You need to get rid of him now." "Why?" I asked, confused. The doctor replied, "This bear's nature is to kill. Soon his instincts will take over, and he will eat you. Be careful who you trust." To win a $1,000 gift, press on the red circle and watch the next video till the end. What on earth are they doing? I was growing old and had little time left. I needed to choose which of my sons would take my mansion when I was gone. After thinking for hours, I came up with a plan. That day, a lady came to clean the place. I hid in a room, watching my sons through the security cameras. The first son walked in, noticed trash on the floor, and barked, "Clean faster!" I couldn't believe it. The second son entered right after, kicked over her bucket of water, splashing it everywhere. "Look what you did! Are you stupid?" I was stunned again. Then my third son arrived. "Are you out of your mind? Let's help her." He grabbed a towel and helped the cleaner mop up the mess. I stepped out of my room. My sons froze in surprise. I hugged my third son and declared, "You will inherit my home, and you two will get nothing." My brother left me! A boy was selling apples on the road every day to earn some cash. One day, a man came and purchased all the apples. The boy said thank you and hurried to a shop to buy a gift. The following day, the boy was back selling apples. The man came again and asked, "Why do you sell these apples every day?" The boy answered, "To buy my big brother a gift for Christmas." The man asked, "Where do you get these apples?" The boy said, "I have an apple tree at home. I pick the apples and come here to sell them." Then the man asked, "What does your brother do now?" The boy said, "My brother is in heaven and no one can give him a gift for Christmas. So whenever it's Christmas, I bring him a gift and place it by his grave and say Merry Christmas to him." The man was stunned and asked, "What do you wish for this Christmas?" With tears in his eyes, the boy answered, "To have my brother back." The man was silent and his heart was broken by the boy's wish. "Why not me, Dad?" A rich father had 3 daughters. One day, a janitor was cleaning their house, and the father was hiding behind the door. The first daughter came in and spilled her coffee on the floor. The cleaner looked at her with sad eyes and started cleaning. The father saw everything, but stayed hidden. Then the second daughter came. She took out trash from her bag and threw it on the floor. The cleaner looked at her with sadness again and began cleaning. Then the third daughter arrived and said, "You work very hard all day. Come eat with me." They went to eat together. Later, the father called all his daughters and gave each one a gift. The first daughter opened her box and found the coffee she spilled. The second daughter opened hers and saw the trash she had thrown. The third daughter opened her box and saw it was full of money with a letter inside that said, "My dear daughter, all my expensive cars and homes are now yours." This kid was a rich brat. When I was a child, my brother and I went to school together. We were very close. There was a rich boy who picked on everyone. He used to say things like, "My dad will throw you out if you don't do what I say." One day, he grabbed my brother and yelled, "Give me your money." My brother said no, and the boy shouted, "Who do you think you are?" The rich kid got angry and pushed him into the street. I saw my brother get hit by a truck. At the hospital, he died. In court, the rich boy's parents gave money to the judge. They said, "It was an accident." My mom and I cried while they walked away smiling at us. Years went by and I became a judge. One day, the rich boy, now a man, was in court again. He had taken someone's life. When he saw me, he got scared. This time, he couldn't run. I gave him a life sentence in jail. As the guards took him away, I shouted, "Evil always comes back. Dirty girl, don't touch my car." As a rich man, I had lots of fancy cars parked in front of my house. I cleaned them every day, but soon fingerprints would show up, and it made me really annoyed. One day, I checked the security camera footage, and I was shocked by what I saw. A little girl was standing near my cars, touching and looking at them. I rushed outside, angry, and yelled, "Stop touching my cars, you'll damage the paint." The girl started crying and said sorry. She pulled out a small cloth and began wiping off the marks. I was surprised by how sweet and innocent she looked. She said, "I always wanted a car, but I don't have a family." Right then, I felt really bad. I took my car keys from my pocket and said, "Please sit inside the car." She looked unsure, but happy. We sat in the car and I turned it on. "Let's go for a ride. I'll make your day better and feel free to come again. I'd be happy to show you every car I have." Being kind is better than being angry. I was scared of this man. I was a mom of 2 small girls, and every day I took them to the park. I would always sit on a bench and he passed by me. On another bench sat a man wearing dark glasses. One day I sat next to him. He didn't say anything. There were many children in the park, so I asked him, "Which one is yours?" But he stayed silent. Then I asked again, "Which one is yours?" At last he answered, "I don't have one." I was shocked. "What are you doing here then? Watching little kids? You aren't a parent. Get out of here." I then hit him on the face and he started crying. "I am blind. I sit here because the sound of laughter and running makes me think of my little boy. I was driving with him in my car when I didn't see the truck coming. It crashed into us. I lost my sight in the accident and he died. I was terrified. I got lost in the desert with no water and no way out. I prayed to God every day to help me stay alive. While walking, I saw what looked like water far away. I shouted, "Thank you, God. This will save me." I ran to it, but when I got there, it was completely dry. I yelled, "God, why did you do this to me?" Tired and upset, I decided to make a small shelter to get through the night. After a few hours, I finished it. I felt proud, but suddenly a strong wind blew it down. I screamed again, "God, why did you do this to me?" I cried. I thought I was going to die, but then I saw the wind had uncovered a water spring under the sand. That water saved me. And the next morning, a rescue team found me. They asked, "How did you stay alive so long?" I dropped to my knees and yelled, "Always trust God! This kid wants the plane to fall in fire!" I took my class on a trip to the woods when I caught the smell of fire. Soon, I saw smoke rising. I shouted for the kids to turn back, but the fire spread too fast. Huge flames closed in, trapping us. I pulled out my phone and called the fire crew. Just 5 minutes later, a helicopter arrived and landed inside the flames. We hurried inside. "Why aren't we flying up?" The kids cried in fear. The pilot glanced at me with watery eyes. I had only one decision to make. I leapt out of the helicopter and slowly it lifted into the sky. My students were safe. "What about you, teacher?" A little girl called from the window as I stood outside. "It's too heavy with me. Don't be sad. You'll be safe." I stood watching them fly away, waiting as the fire closed in on me. A A little boy ran into my shop. He grabbed some medicine and didn't stop. My worker caught him, shouting loud, "You're stealing! Don't you feel proud?" The boy cried hard, his face in pain. "My sister is sick! We have nothing left. We sleep on the street. We're all alone. I had no choice, no place to go." His words cut deep. I couldn't speak. I gave him the pills. My heart felt weak. "Take them, but don't come again." He nodded and ran through the heavy rain. Years went by and I grew old. My body was tired. My hands felt cold. A car had struck me. I couldn't pay. The doctor said, "He won't last a day." I lay there alone, ready to die. No family close, no help nearby. Then I woke alive somehow. A doctor stood, his face calm now. "Do you remember?" he softly said. "You helped me once when we were near dead. You gave us the pills. You didn't ask why. You saved my sister. You let her survive." On the bill, a note was clear. Paid in full. Tears filled my eyes as I looked back. Good always returned. I got thrown out of my home. Couldn't pay the rent anymore. So I went to my grandfather's house. He welcomed me warmly. He said he had to stay in the hospital for a couple of weeks. He told me I could live in his house and take care of his parrot while he was gone. My grandfather loved that bird and didn't trust anyone else to look after it. I agreed, and a few days later the parrot started bothering me with its loud sounds. So I decided to lock it in a room for a short time. Hours turned into days, and the house became very quiet. One morning, I suddenly remembered, "Oh no, I forgot about the parrot." I panicked and rushed to the room where I had locked it. I stood there in shock. It was dead. Just then, the doorbell rang. I looked, and it was my grandfather. He had just come back from the hospital. "I hate my parents!" His parents always gave him everything he wanted, but he always talked to them badly. One day, his dad said, "Let's go fishing." "No!" the boy yelled angrily. Later that night, his mom told him, "I love you!" The little boy replied, "I hate you!" His mom left his room crying. The next day at school, a new student arrived. "This little girl will be in your class," the teacher said. The boy walked to her and asked, "Do you want to play?" "Yes," she answered. They became good friends. One day, his parents visited the school. The boy felt ashamed and told the girl, "I hate my parents." The girl looked at him sadly and said, "I wish I had parents. They died when I was a baby." The boy was surprised, and his eyes filled with tears. He felt bad for how he treated his parents. When he went home, he told them, "I am sorry for how I acted. I love you. I made a terrible mistake." I was a police officer walking through the city when a dog started following me and barking. I always ignored him, but then I thought maybe he's trying to show me something. I chose to follow him. The dog guided me through a few streets until we stopped in front of an old house. The house was dark and silent. The dog sat by the door and became quiet. I was puzzled, so I pulled out my gun and opened the door. Inside, everything was still. In one room, I found an old woman lying in bed holding a picture. She had been dead for some time. Next to the bed was a message. All I wanted was to see my son on my last day. At that moment, I remembered my mother, who I hadn't spoken to in years because of a fight we had. I took the picture from the old woman's hands and saw myself as a child. I was stunned. That old woman was my mother. I dropped to my knees and wept. "Forgive others. Life is too short. We are going to die." My dad took my younger sister and me on a trip to go fishing. He stepped away for a bit to use the toilet. Then out of nowhere, we heard a loud, angry noise. When we turned around, we saw a giant bear with long, sharp claws. My sister and I got really scared and started crying and screaming for our dad to help us. Our dad rushed back, grabbed a fishing pole, and began fighting the bear. He shouted, "Stay away from them." A moment later, he screamed, "Run now!" We followed his words and ran to the car. We locked the doors and called the cops. When the officers arrived, they looked around the forest and came back. I noticed tears in the policeman's eyes. He told us that our dad had died while keeping us safe. My dad once said, "If you really love someone, you don't think twice before acting." "Who took it? I have a weapon!" I left my bicycle in the yard. In the morning, it wasn't there. I was angry because I really liked that bike. One day, I saw it parked outside a shop. I rushed in and shouted, "Who took my bike?" Everyone stood still. I showed my weapon. Nobody leaves until someone talks. A young boy slowly lifted his hand. "I'm sorry, I took it." I held his arm. "We're going to the cops. They'll call your family." At the station, he began to weep. The officer asked, "Why did you take the bike?" The boy replied, "My family is gone. I stay with my little sister. She's very ill." I walked for 2 hours to get her food and medicine. I took the bike to get to her quickly. I couldn't say anything. He looked at me and said, "She's all I have. Should I allow him to keep the bike?" "Dad, why always him?" Before he died, a king had to choose who would rule after him. He didn't think any of his soldiers were right for the job, so he gave each of his 3 sons a watermelon seed. "Whoever grows the best watermelon will be king," he said. A month later, 2 of the sons brought big, nice watermelons. "Father, we did what you asked," they said. "Great," replied the king. But the 3rd son came with nothing. "You didn't bring me anything," the king said. "Father, I watered the seed every day, but it didn't grow," the son answered. The king smiled, took him in front of a big crowd and shouted, "This is your new king." The other 2 sons were surprised. "But he didn't bring a watermelon," they said. The king got angry and said, "You fools! The seeds I gave you were dead. He was honest, and that's why he deserves to be king. He is laughing while I am starving." 2 boys were close friends. They went to school together and spent their time talking and laughing. One day, during lunch break, they sat on a bench. "You are my best friend," said one of the boys. Every day, he brought snacks and sweets to share. But one morning, he was late and forgot his lunch. At break time, he told his friend, "I forgot my food." His friend replied, "I didn't." The hungry boy asked, "Can I have some of your food?" His friend answered angrily, "No, you can't." The boy was surprised. "If I give you food, I won't have enough for myself," the friend said, annoyed, then walked away. The teacher had seen everything and came to the boy saying, "It's better to be alone than to have a fake friend." "My wife is a spy!" A man and his family lived in a home that was always full of fighting, sadness, and hurt. Next door, their neighbors lived happily. Their house was full of smiling, joy, and care. One day, the man and his wife had a big fight. His wife shouted, "Have you ever heard any yelling from the neighbor's house?" He answered, "No," she yelled. "Then go and see why." The man quietly went to their window and looked inside. He saw the neighbor's wife baking bread and the husband reading a book. Suddenly, the phone rang. The husband ran to get it, but he knocked over a bucket of water and it spilled everywhere. Right away, he tried to clean it up. Then his wife came and started helping him. The husband said, "Sorry, I spilled the water." His wife replied, "No, it's my mistake. I forgot to move the bucket." After they cleaned up together, they gave each other a hug. The man went back home. His wife asked angrily, "So what's their secret?" He said, "In their home, they help each other, but we only hurt each other with our anger and—" "My wife is a big liar!" A man was fishing when he caught a golden fish. "I will give you 3 wishes if you set me free," said the goldfish. The man was surprised and said, "Okay, I promise to let you go." "What's your first wish?" asked the goldfish. "I want my wife to feel better. She's very ill," said the man. "Done," said the goldfish. The man didn't believe it, so he called his wife. "How do you feel?" he asked. "I'm healed," she replied, then hung up. "What's your second wish?" the goldfish asked. "I want lots of money," said the man. "Done," said the fish. His phone rang. His wife yelled, "We can pay everything now." The man was amazed. "And your third wish?" asked the goldfish. "I want to be strong," said the man. "Done," said the goldfish again. But then the man thought, "I won't let him go," and he took the goldfish home. When he got back, he found his wife crying. "Why are you crying? We're rich now," he said. "I'm sick again," she sobbed. The man got confused. "What about the money?" he asked. "A kid came and burned it all," she said. He rushed to a mirror and saw he was back to his weak self. "What happened to my wishes?" he shouted. The goldfish replied, "You were selfish and didn't keep your promise, so you lost everything." "I did something terrible!" "My dad died when I was young, and ever since, my mom did everything she could to take care of me. Years later, after I got married, my mom moved in with my wife and me. My wife became jealous because I loved my mom and spent a lot of time with her. One day, she said, "If you love me, you'll show it. Take your mom to her favorite place on the mountain and push her off." I was shocked, but she warned me, "I'll leave you if you don't do it." I gave in. I told my mom we were going on a drive with my wife. When we got to the top, my mom stood near the edge, watching the sunset. "I love you, my son. This is so beautiful." Then my wife pulled me aside and said, "Drive back home. Leave your mom here with me. I'll take care of it." As I drove away through a storm, something strange happened. I saw my dad sitting in the front seat crying. "How could you leave her?" he asked, holding up a mirror. In it, I saw my mom on the mountain, crying and trying to run from my wife. I turned the car around right away. When I arrived, I found my mom hiding, shaking in fear. My wife had a knife, but while chasing my mom, she slid and fell from the mountain. I ran to my mom, hugging her and crying. "Mom, I'm so sorry. I love you. I'll never leave you again." "No one cares about me." I used to be the quiet kid that people ignored. Being alone felt normal to me. One day, a small girl sat beside me in class. She always smiled and tried to chat. She would say, "You're quiet, but that's okay. If you ever feel like talking, I'm here." I wanted to speak with her, but I stayed silent. Then something changed, and we became close friends. friends. We did everything together. I started feeling okay talking to others, and soon I became well-liked. But my new group didn't like her. They said, "Why hang out with that weirdo?" I got scared and replied, "Yeah, she's so lame. I wish he wasn't around." Everyone laughed, but when I looked back, my best friend was crying. I tried to talk to her, but she ran away. Days passed, and she didn't return to school. I was scared. Then one day, her mom showed up at school. I rushed to her and asked about my friend. She started crying and said, "Oh, you're the boy she always talked about. She really cared about you. She had cancer this year, and yesterday she died. If she thinks I'm lying!" A woman hated her husband. She always told him, "You don't love me enough." One night, the husband took her out for dinner and said, "I love you." But the woman believed he wasn't honest and didn't really care about her. While walking back home, some thieves attacked him. The woman was so scared that she passed out and fell. Her husband fought the thieves and made them run away. He got hurt but carried his wife to the hospital. The next day, when the woman woke up, the doctor came and said, "Your husband told us you passed out. He brought you here and said your heart stopped." "I hate him," the woman answered. The doctor was shocked and said, "He died last night. He gave you his heart to save you." The woman was shocked, and tears filled her eyes. The doctor said, "He left this message for you," and handed her a note. It said, "When I said I love you, I meant it with all my heart. The teacher is stealing students." During the war, our teacher started acting in a strange way. He would take a few of us for a walk, but when they came back, some students were always gone. I asked him, "Where did they go?" But he only said, "They are safe now." I didn't really get what he meant. A week later, the school was almost empty. Only the teacher, me, and one other student were left. All the others never came back. Then we heard loud gunshots outside. Enemy soldiers stood in front of the school and yelled, "Give us your students, we need them for the work camp." The teacher told us to hide, then walked out to meet them. He said, "I don't have any." The soldiers got mad and said, "Then we only need you." They dragged him behind the school. Moments later, we heard one more gunshot. That's when we finally understood. Our teacher had been hiding all of us. He knew the soldiers would come, so he made sure the students were safe first. In the end, he gave his life to protect us. After the war, people built a big statue to honor him. They called him a guardian.
These boys are eating trash. My brother and I grew up in a poor neighborhood. We didn't have much, and every day was a struggle. Our father always said life was unfair, and we believed him. He blamed the world for everything. My brother followed that path. He stayed angry, hated rich people, and never tried to improve. When I asked him why, he said, "We grew up poor. What did you expect?" I took a different road. I worked hard, studied, failed, got back up. Eventually, I built my own business one day. My brother visited me and asked, "How did you end up like this?" I smiled and said, "We grew up poor. What did you expect? Life gives us the same tools, but we choose how to use them." If you believe that too, share this with someone who needs to hear it.
A drunk driver took my parents' lives. One night, while I was patrolling in my police car, I got a call about an accident nearby. When I arrived, my heart stopped. It was my parents' car. Anger rushed through me. I checked the street cameras and saw a drunk driver had run the red light and crashed into them. I traced the license plate and found he was just a regular man who made a deadly mistake while drunk. I will avenge my parents, I thought. Fueled by rage, I stormed to his house and kicked the door open. The man dropped to his knees, shaking and crying. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Please forgive me." I lifted my gun, ready to pull the trigger, but suddenly I heard voices. "Forgive him! Mom! Dad!" I cried. I turned and saw two angels standing behind me. I shouted, "But he killed you! Why should I forgive him?" They looked at me with gentle smiles and said, "Because God gave you a heart to forgive, not to destroy." I was on a battle with my younger brother. My little brother and I always dreamed of becoming fighters when we grew up. We joined the military. Our wish came true, and we felt very happy. One day, a real battle began. Every day and night, we lived through the fear and mess of war. We saw terrible things. I always stayed by my brother's side, keeping him safe and doing everything I could to protect him. Day after day, it continued. Then one night, during a very bad fight, we lost many of our friends. In the end, the enemies trapped us inside a broken house. I shouted to my brother, "I'll cover you. You run that way and don't look back." My brother had tears in his eyes, gave me a hug, and started running. I kept fighting back, but then I got shot. I fell down and laid on the cold floor, slowly dying. I started remembering all the moments I had with my little brother. Suddenly, my brother came back. He beat all the enemies and ran to me with tears, trying to help me. But I knew it was too late. I used my last breath to say, "Don't cry, brother. I'd face every bullet in the world if it meant protecting you." "What the the hell are they doing? I was at a military event with my dad, an army pilot. Everyone stood quietly. I thought this was a celebration. Father, I said, upset. It is sun, just a different kind, he answered. Suddenly, I heard a loud sound. A group of military planes flew toward us, leaving a trail of red smoke. They stayed together until one plane pulled away and rose high into the sky. He ruined it, Father. They look so cool together. Where is he going? Be quiet, my dad shouted. I saw everyone suddenly drop to their knees crying. I was shocked, saying, "Why is everyone crying?" My dad knelt beside me. Son, this is a funeral for a pilot who died in war. That plane flying up shows him going to heaven. Stop recording, the baby will jump! I traveled to another country as a visitor when I noticed a group of people standing around with their phones recording something. I felt puzzled because I didn't know why they were shouting for help, but when I looked up I was shocked. A small boy was standing on the edge of a balcony and his father was reaching for him, but he couldn't get close enough. The crowd only called the police and waited, but there was no time left. I pulled off my jacket and began climbing the building. I went up level by level until I reached the little boy. I held him in my arms and leapt over the balcony. He was safe now, and his father's eyes filled with tears. I returned the child to his father. He asked, "How weren't you afraid of the height?" I shouted. The fear of him falling was stronger than anything else I could feel. I had to save him. My girlfriend made me cry! I cared so much for my girlfriend, but lately I saw she began ignoring me. I got anxious and tried everything so she would care for me again. One morning I made her breakfast, but she looked at me angrily. This tastes like crap. I felt awful, but I didn't give up. The next day I gave her flowers. She got upset and threw them in my face, shouting, "I hate flowers! You are the worst boyfriend!" She then walked away. I stood there in tears and suddenly slipped, hitting my head. When I woke up, I saw God before me. I asked, "God, what can I do to make my girlfriend love me?" God answered, "Break up with her." I was stunned and said, "God, but I love her." Then God yelled, "But she doesn't love you. When someone truly cares about you, they will value your efforts." My father is always dirty. A son took his old father to a restaurant for dinner. The father was very old and weak. While eating, he dropped food on his shirt and pants. People in the restaurant looked at him with disgust, but the son stayed calm. After the meal, the son quietly took his father to the bathroom, cleaned the food, wiped the stains, and combed his father's hair. When they came out, everyone in the restaurant was silent, surprised that someone could act like that in public. The son paid the bill and walked out with his father. Then an old man in the crowd called out and asked, "Don't you think you forgot something?" The son said, "No, sir, I didn't." The old man replied, "Yes, you did. You left a lesson for every son and hope for every father. Help me to save my friend!" A group of fighters were in a battle. After the fight, they found a dog in a broken house. The dog was hurt and looked sad. "Hey, friend, we will help you," said one fighter. The fighter took the dog to his camp. The animal doctor checked the dog. "The dog is in very bad shape. He might not make it," said the doctor. "Do everything you can," answered the fighter. Days went by, and the dog got better. From then on, the fighter took the dog on every trip. The dog became part of their group and helped with everything. "This police officer is a criminal!" He used to secretly take stolen money from bad guys and put it in his own pocket. "My partner, what are you doing?" I said when I saw him do it again, but he didn't answer. I didn't know what to do about what he was doing. I kept thinking for days, and finally I decided to tell our boss. That same day, the boss told us to arrest him. "You were a criminal in police uniform. Now you will get what you deserve." In court, he stayed quiet and didn't try to explain himself. One day, while I was working at the front door of the police station, a lot of homeless people came and asked about him. I told them he was arrested, and they started crying. I didn't understand. Then one of them told me the truth. For years, the old cop was taking money from bad people and giving it to the homeless so they could eat and sleep in hotels. If you think I should let him go, drop a heart and subscribe. A woman saw 3 men outside her home. She asked them, "Are you hungry? Do you want to come inside?" They said, "Is your husband at home?" She answered, "No, not yet." They said, "Then we cannot come in." Later that evening, her husband came home. She told him about the 3 men. He said, "Go and tell them I'm home. Invite them in." She went and told the men. They replied, "We cannot all come in together." She asked, "Why not?" The first man said, "I am money." The second said, "I am good luck." The third said, "I am love. Go ask your husband which one of us he wants in the house." She told her husband. He said, "Let's invite money." The woman said, "No. Let's choose good luck." But their young son said, "Let's pick love. Then we'll have lots of love in our home." They all agreed, and she invited the man called Love. The other two men also started walking with him. She was surprised and asked, "I only asked love to come. Why are you two coming too?" They said, "Where there is love, there is always money and good luck."
Stop texting me! I got tired of my girlfriend's messages. Always the same. I love you. I miss you. Did you eat? It started to annoy me. One night, lying in bed, my phone buzzed again. Another message from her. I felt fed up, turned my phone off, and went to sleep. In the morning, I woke up to a call. Her mother crying hard. "She's gone," she said. "Killed last night." I froze. My heart dropped. Tears filled my eyes. Then it hit me. Her text from the night before, the one I never opened. I opened it and it read, "Honey, please come and help me. Someone is following me. Never ignore your loved ones."
I did something terrible to my brother. Me and my brother were very close. He was always by my side. But as we grew older, we became different. "Please change," he often told me. "Crime will not give you anything good." But I just ignored him. One night, I decided to rob a bank. I prepared for months. Everything went well. I broke in, grabbed the money, and ran. Just then, in front of me, in the dark alley, a cop appeared. "Stop!" he shouted. I didn't think. I pulled my gun without pause. The policeman fell. My heart was racing. I moved closer and saw his face. That face that had been with me my whole life. "Brother, it's you!" I screamed, my hands shaking. I dropped to my knees, holding him in my arms. "Why? I warned you to stop," he whispered as he slowly faded. Memories rushed back. Us as kids, laughing, always there for each other. And now, my brother was gone because of me. "We're going to die on this train!" I was driving a train packed with passengers when suddenly the brakes stopped working. The train rushed forward faster than ever, and no matter what I tried, it wouldn't slow down. My friends beside me began shouting in fear. "We're going to die on this train!" One of them screamed. I dropped to my knees and started praying. They turned to me in anger. "Are you out of your mind? God isn't real! You think praying can stop this train? We're about to crash!" But I refused to stop. I kept praying. The train thundered toward the edge of the tracks. My friends broke down in tears. Then suddenly a brilliant light shone, and angels surrounded us. They reached out their hands, touching the train, and it began to slow until it fully stopped. My friends stared at the angels, their mouths wide open, eyes filled with tears. One after another, they dropped to their knees. "How can this be? This is the power of my God! Nobody wants to help me!" I walked into a restaurant feeling very tired and weak. I was sick, and every step felt heavy. I saw a man sitting at a table full of food, wearing a fancy suit. I went up to him and said, "Excuse me, can I please have what you won't finish?" He looked at me like I was dirt. "What are you, a stray dog? Get away from me!" His words hurt a lot. I walked away with tears in my eyes. Then I saw an old woman eating at another table. I gave it another try. "Please," I said, "if you don't want the rest, may I have it?" She smiled and handed me her plate, but just as I was about to eat, she pulled it back and threw it in the trash. I sat there, heartbroken. "God, please help me. You're my only hope." Suddenly, the same woman came back carrying warm food on clean plates. She gently put them in front of me and said, "I own this place. You're welcome to come eat here every day." I couldn't hold back my tears. "Thank you for giving me hope when I couldn't stand my little boy." He was always making drawings for me. Every day, he'd come over with a new one saying, "Daddy, look, this is for you," with a big smile. But I always replied, "I don't have time for this. I'm busy." I was tired and didn't want to deal with him. He got on my nerves. Still, he kept trying to show me his drawings. Day after day, another picture. I never appreciated them. Then one day, he didn't bring me a drawing. No hugs, no smiling face. My little boy had passed away from cancer. The house was quiet. I walked into his room and found his old drawings. On each one, he had written, "I hope you like this one, Daddy." My heart shattered. From that moment on, I would give anything just to hold him one more time and say, "I love you." My little girl made me cry. I adored my little daughter. Every night, we loved watching the stars together. But one day, she suddenly became very sick. I rushed her to the hospital, worried and scared. After a few hours, a doctor came out and said, "Sir, unfortunately, your daughter has a rare condition. We are not sure how much time she has left." My heart shattered. I visited her every single day. One evening, she looked at me and asked, "Daddy, can we watch the stars from the hospital window?" I smiled and replied, "Of course, we will always watch them together." The next day, I gave her a bracelet with a tiny star. I told her, "See, I have the same bracelet. When I'm not with you, look at this star and think of me." She hugged it close and whispered, "Thank you for never leaving me. I love you, Daddy." The following morning, when I came to her room, her bed was empty. I turned around and saw her doctor. I cried out, "Where is my little girl? Did you move her to another room?" With tears in his eyes, the doctor said, "Your daughter passed away last night. She wanted me to give you this note." I fell to the floor in tears. The note said, "Daddy, please don't cry for me. I'll be in the stars stars watching over you. Every time you look up, remember that I'm smiling at you. I made a huge mistake! My dad and I were very close. We did a lot of things together, and I never believed anything could break our bond. But one day we had a fight. It started with something small, but quickly turned into a big argument. I got so angry that I hit him in the face. After that, we stopped talking. Neither of us wanted to say sorry first. 20 years went by. Then I heard he was very sick. I wanted to visit him, but I thought he wouldn't want to see me, so I didn't go. 2 days later, he died. At the funeral, when I saw him lying there, my heart shattered. I dropped to my knees, crying and yelling, "Please forgive me! I love you, Dad!" But it was too late. He couldn't hear me anymore. Forgive your loved ones while you still can. I had a friend who was a bitch! While I was working, I found a strange bag and shouted, "Do you know what this is?" I called my friend, and when he opened the bag, he saw gold inside and screamed, "I'm rich now! How lucky am I?" I hugged him with a big smile and said, "We will never have to work again. We are rich. How fortunate we are." But my friend glared at me and yelled, "No, I'm rich, not you." I was stunned by his words. "All the gold is mine," he said greedily. Suddenly, a group of police officers pointed their guns and shouted, "Police! Hands behind your back!" My friend panicked and cried, "We're going to jail!" But I looked at him and said, "Who's we? You're going to jail. The gold is yours, not mine. Fuck you! They think I'm a bad guy!" I was lying in bed when I suddenly heard sirens outside. I looked through the window and saw a bunch of police officers with weapons. Suddenly, one of them started hitting my door. "We're giving you 5 minutes. Come out!" I walked outside with my hands raised. "What's happening?" I asked. The officer yelled, "Stop pretending you don't know. You're a thief." I was shocked and shouted, "You've got the wrong place." All my neighbors were outside watching. "He's a bad man! Arrest him now!" I always knew there was something off about him. I looked at them, angry. "I've helped you so many times. This is how you repay me?" "We don't care," someone yelled. "If we knew you were a crook, we'd have never talked to you." The police rushed into my house, but to their surprise, they didn't find anything. "Sir, we apologize. We made a mistake. You're not the person we're looking for. You can do 1,000 good things, but the second you mess up, people forget it all and treat you like dirt. This boy is a jerk!" The boy stepped out of his car and saw his classmate selling lemonade on the road. He began laughing at him. "You're poor and homeless," he chuckled. "I'll tell everyone at school. Please don't." The boy wept. "This is how I helped my mom with rent." The boy smacked him and got back in the car. The next morning at school, he noticed the boy talking to himself in front of a mirror. He came closer and said, "You're not ashamed to look in the mirror?" The boy answered quietly, "No, I see a successful man." The wealthy boy laughed. "My father is rich. Don't come asking for a job. We don't hire losers like you." Tears rolled down the boy's cheeks, but the rich boy and his classmates kept laughing and bullying him each day. Many years later, the rich boy's father stormed in angrily. "My company has gone bankrupt because of your mistake. I'll fix it. Just give me some time. It's too late. I've already sold the company." At that moment, a familiar man walked into their home. It was his old classmate, now grown. The rich boy turned to his father and asked, "Is this the new cleaner?" To his shock, the man replied, "I just bought your company. You now work for me." This old man was beating a man.
I was walking along the street when I noticed a man walking with an elderly man. All of a sudden, the old man tripped. The man leaned down to assist, but the old man yelled, "Stay away from me." "I'm sorry," the man murmured softly, moving back. People paused and stared, puzzled. The man just remained there, looking sorrowful. The following day, I spotted them once again. The old man was having trouble carrying heavy grocery bags. The man stepped forward and said, "Let me help you." "Get away from me." The old man yelled again. The man stepped back, quiet, and the old man left him behind. A few days later, I came across them once again. The man stood beside the elderly man, holding a tiny bar of chocolate. He handed it to the old man, but he shouted, "Get away from me." "I'm sorry," the man whispered. I couldn't hold my silence anymore. "Why do you keep trying to help him?" I questioned. "He's so harsh to you." The man gazed at me, tears filling his eyes. "He's my father. He's ill and forgot who I am, but I will never forget who he is."
Why are they so mad? One day, while I was walking under the hot sun, I saw a group of men lifting heavy rocks, building something. I went up to the first worker. He looked upset and worn out. "Why do you look so mad?" I asked him. "Because I'm lifting these useless stones all day." I moved to the second worker who was pushing a cart full of rocks. He also looked upset. "What are you doing?" I asked. "I'm making money. I wish I could quit this pointless job." Then I saw the third worker. He was doing the same task, but he had a smile on his face. He worked fast, and it looked like the load didn't bother him, even though he carried much heavier stones. "Why are you so happy?" I asked him. He looked at me smiling and said, "I'm building a hospital that will save lives." God isn't real! I trusted in God, but the other firefighters laughed at me because of that. One night, we got called about a house on fire. We reached the place and saw that a family was still inside. I grabbed my axe and prayed again. "God won't help you. You'll die if you go in alone. Just wait," the other firefighters yelled. But I ran to the house, broke the door with my axe and started getting the family out one by one. When I went back in to check if anyone else was left, part of the roof collapsed on me. "He's probably gone. We can't see him," I heard people yelling. When I opened my eyes, I was shocked. Everything around me had fallen, except for the small space where I had prayed. That spot was untouched. "How did you live? The roof fell on you!" They couldn't believe I was alive without any injuries. I looked up and shouted, "God was with me! He kept me safe because I prayed to him. If you trust God, drop a heart and subscribe." This kid was a rich brat. When I was a child, my brother and I went to school together. We were very close. There was a rich boy who picked on everyone. My best friend surprised me. We did everything side by side. We went to class together, worked at the same job, and spent most of our hours chatting and laughing. He was my closest buddy. One day, his car stopped working. He didn't have the cash to repair it and didn't know how he'd reach work. He looked very stressed. I told him, "Don't worry, we're in this together." I gave him the money he needed. A few months later, I became ill. I couldn't work for days, and without my wage, I didn't have enough to cover rent. When I came back, I told him, "I'm in a hard situation. Can you help me just for this month? I'll pay you back as soon as I can." He looked at me and said, "No, I can't. I need to take care of myself first." I couldn't believe it. "But I supported you when your car broke down." He replied, "That was different." When he stood up and walked away, I sat there shocked, thinking, "Is that really my friend?" Then a lady sitting nearby said, "It's better to be alone than to have a fake friend." "Why does that woman look so dirty?" We had just moved into a new flat. One morning, I looked out our window and noticed the neighbor's home. "Her windows are filthy, and her place looks terrible," I told my husband. But he kept watching TV and didn't answer. I thought to myself, maybe she just doesn't care about cleaning like I do. Every time I looked, I felt shocked, even a bit annoyed, at how messy her house and windows seemed. Then one morning, I looked again and gasped, "Wow! Her windows are finally clean, and the house looks much better!" I shouted. My husband came in with a bucket of water and said, "No, I woke up early and washed our windows. They were the dirty ones. You should clean them more often." I froze. That day I learned, before we judge others, we need to check ourselves first. "Not again, God!" My alarm didn't go off and I missed my morning bus. I stood there in the street, furious. "Why, God!" I yelled. "Why do you keep doing this to me? I pray all the time. I'm done. I'm so tired. I hate this." I sat on a bench, completely frustrated. It was going to be a long, hard day, and now I was going to be late. I didn't even want to pray. I didn't want to talk to God anymore. After a while, another bus came. I got on, totally silent. I just stared out the window. Then suddenly, the driver said, "There's been a big accident up ahead. A bus flipped over." I looked and my heart dropped. It was my bus, the one I always take. Tears filled my eyes. I looked up and whispered, "Thank you, God. Thank you for saving me." "What on earth is my dog doing?" I was in a war and my dog was with me. We were walking through enemy land trying to find our way back to base. All of a sudden, I stepped on something and it blew up. I got badly hurt. I shouted for help, but nobody was around. I lay there thinking, this is the end. I'm going to die. I couldn't even protect myself. Tears ran down my face. I felt like all hope was gone. Then out of nowhere, my dog started barking and ran off. I was shocked. Did my best friend really just leave me here to die? Hours went by. Then I saw tanks and soldiers coming toward me. My heart was pounding so hard I could barely breathe. But as they got closer, I noticed something. My dog was in front of them. He had brought my team to me. My friends yelled, "Your dog led us back to you." True friends never leave each other. "Why do you want that useless dog?" One afternoon, while I was working at my animal shop, a young boy walked in. "Can I look at the dogs?" he asked. I nodded and showed him the puppies running around excitedly. But one puppy stayed by himself, looking down. "How much are they?" he asked. "They're $50 each," I replied, then pointed to the lonely one. "But that one's not available." The boy seemed puzzled. "He's not worth anything. He's sick," I snapped. To my surprise, he pulled out 3 wrinkled dollar bills. "That's far from enough," I told him. He looked back at the sad puppy. "Can I please buy him?" he asked again. "I said he's not for sale," I repeated. "He can't even run or play with you." But the boy walked over to the pup, gently hugged him and whispered, "We're going to be best friends." Then he left quietly. Not long after, he returned holding cash in his hands. "Here, I saved up $50 for that dog." I looked at him stunned. "You don't have to pay me. He's not worth a thing. He won't even live much longer." Tears filled the boy's eyes. "I'm sick too. I'm fighting cancer. I don't have a lot of time left either. That puppy needs someone who understands him. Everyone deserves to be loved, even if they're hurting or sick." I hated this little girl. There was a girl in my class who always wore messy clothes. I got angry at her and always told her to wash herself well. The smell was terrible and she never finished her homework. I told her to bring her parents to see me. That never happened. While walking to school one morning, I saw a little girl sitting inside a shop. I thought she was skipping class, so I stopped. "What are you doing here?" I shouted. Then I saw it was the same girl with the dirty clothes. "Oh, it's you! That's it! You are finished!" She began crying and said, "No, please! I work here before school to help my family. That's why I don't have time to wash my clothes." I was shocked to hear that. "Where is your family?" I asked. "We are poor and can't afford much. I'm sorry for everything." No one should judge others before knowing the full story. This man and his cat died in a storm. When they awoke, they found themselves on a calm shore. In the distance, they noticed a boat. The boat was big and golden, with a man standing beside it. The fisherman approached the man and asked, "Where does this boat go?" The man replied, "This boat goes to heaven, a place where you can rest forever." The fisherman looked at the man and asked, "Will I be able to rest at the beach in heaven?" The man answered, "Yes, you will." Then the fisherman asked, "Will I be able to fish in heaven?" The man smiled and said, "Of course, there will be plenty of fish." The fisherman then looked at his cat and shouted, "Let's go to heaven." The man shook his head and said, "No, animals are not allowed." The fisherman gazed at his cat again and chose not to leave without it. Instead, he and his cat kept walking. After some time, the fisherman noticed another boat. It was small, with an elderly man sitting beside it. The fisherman went up to the old man and asked, "Where does this boat go?" The old man replied, "This boat goes to heaven, and your cat can come too." The fisherman was shocked and asked, "What was the first boat then?" The old man explained, "That boat takes you to hell. The only people who reach heaven are the ones who don't leave their friends." I did something awful to my mom! I was lying in the middle of the road completely drunk. My mom found me and said, "I was searching for you. Let's go, son." I shouted, "I don't need your help. Leave me alone," and pushed her when she tried to lift me up. The next day, I came back home drunk again after drinking all day. My mother was there sitting with a hot breakfast she had made for me. "Come eat, son," she said, but I got angry. "When will you finally die?" I yelled at her and walked out without eating. I spent the whole day drinking with my friend, not caring about her. That night, when I returned, the house was empty. "Mom, I'm hungry," I shouted, but no one answered. I called her phone, but she didn't pick up. I went to the neighbors to ask about her. "You don't know? While you were drunk every day, she was fighting cancer, and yesterday she passed away. Never take your loved ones for granted." I was lying on a hospital bed, chained, waiting to die. I had done wrong things I now regretted, but it was too late. Beside me was a young lady. She was very ill, but her mother never left her. Her mother always held her hand, stroked her hair, and cared for her. One night the girl turned to me and asked, "Why doesn't anyone come for you?" I replied, "Because I destroyed everything. I drank too much, and now my life is gone." She didn't judge me. She just listened quietly. The next morning, doctors came and said, "You will die very soon. Your kidneys no longer work." That night, after she fell asleep, I broke down. I stared at the ceiling, tears flooding my eyes, and whispered, "Please, God, I'm begging you, don't let me die like this. Give me just one more chance." A few nights later, she was rushed to the emergency room. I still remember the fear on her mother's face. By the next day, her bed was empty. Her mother came into my room weeping and said, "Last night she told me she knew her time was short. She asked me to speak to the doctors. She wanted you to receive her kidney." I froze in shock. Why would she sacrifice for me? Her mother looked at me and said, "She believed you deserve a new chance. Don't fail her. Don't fail her." They did something terrible to my dog. I had no family, but I had my dog, the one I loved more than anything. He was my best friend, and we lived happily together. One day I was drafted into the war. Before leaving, I hugged him tight one last time and whispered, "We will see each other again, my friend. I promise." Even though deep inside I feared I would never return. A minute later, I tied him to a metal pole, boarded the train, and left. Days later, while inside a building, I heard noises from above. I went closer to the window, and suddenly bombs began to fall. In seconds, I was on the ground, screaming in pain. Memories of me and my dog rushed through my mind. "No, I promised I wouldn't leave him," I shouted, trying to stand and escape, but an enemy soldier found me and shot. The next thing I knew, I was in heaven. Looking down, I saw my dog still tied at the train station. My heart shattered as I realized what had happened. Tears poured down my face as I screamed, "No! Why did they do this to my best friend?" Then I heard barking. I turned around, and there he was, running toward me in heaven. I hugged him tightly, crying, "My friend, no matter what happens, true friends always find their way back to each other." I hated my mom! After another fight with her, I had enough and went to my buddy's house. "I can't stand her," I shouted angrily. "She's always bossing me around. Why can't she just leave me alone?" My friend looked at me seriously. "Do you hear me?" I screamed when he stayed quiet. He sighed deeply, his voice trembling. "Come with me," he said. "We're going to see my mom." There was something in his tone that made me pause, but I went along anyway. We got in the car and rode in silence. After a while, I noticed we weren't going toward a house, but to some kind of park. We got out of the car and and walked forward. When we arrived, I was stunned. My friend had taken me to a cemetery. We stopped in front of an old grave. He dropped to his knees, crying. "Mom, I miss you," he sobbed, his voice breaking. "I wish I could go back and change how I treated you." I was speechless and asked, "What happened?" He stood up, pain filling his eyes. "I never valued my mom. I was rude, selfish, and I never told her I loved her. Then one day she was gone. No warning, no second chances. Don't repeat my mistake. You still have time. And if you love your mom, subscribe!" An alcoholic woke up in a hospital bed, feeling lost. A doctor standing nearby said, "You've been in a deep sleep for 10 years. The man's heart started racing fast. The doctor added, "Long ago, you went out drinking, chose to drive, and got into a crash." The man looked shocked, but quickly asked, "Where's my daughter?" The doctor said she has been contacted and is coming. Then the doctor turned on the TV and walked out. A little later, another doctor entered and asked, "What do you recall?" The man replied, "I recall drinking." The doctor said, "Close your eyes for a while. I want to try something." The man shut his eyes. He felt the doctor softly touching his arms and legs as if examining him. Suddenly, the doctor hit him. The man opened his eyes in surprise and saw people laughing. One of them was his best friend. "You were never in a coma. Stop the bad habits before it's too late. My father passed away yesterday, and today is my wedding." All morning, I cried, hearing his words echo in my mind. "When you get married, I'll be there, holding your hand." After saying it, he would always kiss my hand. I'll never feel that again. He's gone. But the wedding couldn't stop. I dressed myself, even though my heart was breaking. I tried to stay strong. Then a butterfly appeared. It didn't fly away. It circled and stayed close, almost watching me. When it landed softly on my hand, I heard his voice, gentle, familiar, so real. "I'm right here with you, holding your hand." Tears poured down my face. "Dad, is that really you?" I whispered. The butterfly stayed still, calm, unmoving. Deep down, I knew it was him. He kept his promise. Even in death, he found a way back. "Your words were never empty, Dad. Even now, you're beside me," I cried. I felt his love as if he had never left. "I did something terrible to my brother." I was fighting with my brother about who should take our father's house. "It should be mine. I'm older," I yelled. "No, it belongs to me. Dad already gave you his car," my brother shouted back. We kept arguing louder and louder. I lost control. "Be quiet," I screamed and struck him hard. He collapsed to the floor. At first, I just stood there breathing fast, waiting for him to get up, but he didn't move. Panic hit me. "Get up," I cried, shaking him. "Brother, open your eyes. Wake up," I screamed, tears streaming down my face. I didn't know what to do. I lifted him and rushed to my car. While driving to the hospital, my hands were trembling. "Please don't die. I'm sorry," I kept repeating again and again. At the hospital, the doctors quickly took him inside. I waited outside, guilt crushing my chest. At last, they said he was awake. I hurried into his room and saw him sitting up in bed. I couldn't hold back my tears. I hugged him tightly and cried out, "We're brothers, and brothers never abandon each other." "Stop! I lost my little baby!" I was hurrying with my bags, and when I got on the bus, I fell asleep. When I woke up, I was terrified. I had left my baby at the bus stop. My heart froze. It was already late at night. I had slept too long, but wasn't far away. I jumped on another bus, and when I arrived, my baby was gone from the stop. I was shaking with fear. What had I done? I wept, but then I noticed a homeless man lying on the cold ground. He was holding something tightly. I rushed to him and saw my baby wrapped in his blanket. Tears rolled down my face. "Sir, you saved my baby. I don't know how to thank you." But he didn't respond. I touched his hand, and it was ice cold. He had passed away. He gave his blanket and warmth to keep my baby safe. I couldn't believe it. He gave everything to protect her life.